Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mama Knows Best Mostly. We are your hosts, Carly and Becca, and today we're going to talk about how it is very true that Mama knows best, and you need to listen to her because even if she's wrong, she's the mom, and that's it. Unless obviously the baby's in danger, but we know better, mostly.
Yes. And honestly, that's kind of why we even went with this name, right? Because as someone who was connected to your child for 9 months, like physically connected via umbilical cord, and they were inside of you, there's just something that is undescribable. And like we just in our souls know what is going on without knowing what's going on.
We know
And
what's best.
yeah, so our name isn't because we actually know a damn thing, but we do feel that it was fitting because at the end of the day, like we all are thrown into this role of being mothers with having zero experience, and somehow you do know how to do it. So I
Right.
just wanted to add that little piece in because it is so true. So I guess going off of that, Becca, have you had like, I mean, I know I can think for myself of times that I've just like felt a certain way before even knowing and like being validated, but have you had those moments of like knowing in your soul something was going on with Vienna?
Yeah, actually, yeah. When she was sick for the first time, it was just this past January. It was like, it was so strange because she was in bed. She went to bed fine. Everything was fine. And I was in bed and I couldn't sleep. And Zach was awake and playing some video games with his friends. I think it was like a Saturday night, or maybe it was like New Year's Day. Like there was nothing going on. And I just like had a feeling something was wrong. So I checked the monitor and she's just like tossing and turning, but not crying. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And her heart rate was kind of high for
Oh, do you
just
have
laying there.
the owlet? Is that what
I
it's called?
do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah. That thing is, whew, I love that thing. Peace of mind for sure. But her heart rate was high. And I'm like, nope, something's wrong. She's not like complaining, but her heart rate is just high for someone who's resting. And sometimes a fever can cause that.
Interesting.
So Zach's trying to like put her back to sleep. I'm watching on the monitor and I'm realizing that she's not going to sleep, but she's not crying. So I go in there and I put my hands on her head to feel for a fever. Mind you, I've never done that in my life. I don't know if I would even know. Like
I feel like
I
there's
have
definitely been times prior to Jules that Justin was like, "Do you feel me? Like, do I feel warm?" And I honestly am just like, "No, you feel fine," but I have no idea.
exactly. Like people have been like, does this feel warm to you? And I'm like, no, like I don't know.
Cool as
So
the cucumber.
right, I didn't think I possessed that skill. So when I placed, it was just like instinct. I just like placed my hand on her head to feel, and I was like, didn't even like have a thought. I was just like, she has a fever. Like it just like processed through me, and I'm like, I didn't know I possessed that skill. But turns out she was sick. Yeah, she had a fever. She had the flu, and it was a whole thing. But
And I'm sure she
I
probably
knew.
like appeared more symptomatic as time went on, but you knew like
Yeah, there was
right
like not
away.
one symptom, not one thing. So like the next day we took her to the pediatrician. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is like day 1 of the flu and it's going to be a rough 6 days." And I was like, "Bet." And I know best, even though I took some
Yeah.
pediatrician advice, but I know best and it was 2 days and then she was fine.
Yeah. No,
But what
we
about you?
definitely similarly, like Jules has had quite a few sicknesses. She had the flu, she had COVID,
Oh my gosh.
and she is always like she runs warm, so I feel like whenever she's sleepy, she's one of those babies that like can get pretty sweaty. Um,
Yeah.
but same thing, I don't have the owlet sock, um, but it was at the point where like I was still like waking her to nurse the first time, and I mean I picked her up and immediately like ripped her clothes off, ripped her diaper off because the
Yeah.
thermometer we have we put in her butt, and like it
That's the way to do it, by the way. That is actually the most
yeah.
accurate. You know that. You know that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know. I don't trust the like gun ones that you just like
Nope.
test from the outside.
Even under the arm is hard because what if she was laying like this
Yeah.
or
And
like this?
realistically, I mean, it doesn't, you're not shoving it up their butthole. Like it's just
It's
going in a
literally
little.
just the
Like
tip.
I've seen the poops she's pushed out. Like we're good with just the little tip of the
Yes,
thermometer.
correct. It's not a big
Um,
deal.
but yeah, no, I feel like in both of those situations, like I just immediately knew. And honestly, I could have been like from afar and been able to tell you, like, no, she has a fever. I don't know why. Um,
Right. You don't
or
know why.
just
It's just connection.
like even something as little as like being somewhere and just knowing like okay she's tired and we need to go. It's like she obviously cannot speak to me yet. It would be
Right.
cool if she was like sleep, but I just like feel it. And you learn every move that they make. You There's this unspoken language that makes it almost easy for you to figure things out. And I know that like even with Justin, like he's like you just have it, right? And I think
Yeah.
that having it is just something you get when you literally become a mom. And
Yeah.
like I'm trying to think of other things. Even sometimes when she's not sleeping, she's we've gone through waves of sleep issues and consistent sleep patterns, and right now she's been in like a pretty good sleep
Don't even.
pattern.
Next.
um but she will occasionally wake up and it's like he's like what do you think's wrong with her, and I'm like I think her belly's bothering her. And like why do I think that? I have no clue, but I
But you
just
know.
yes. And it turns out like she then once I sit and I think about it, I'm like, oh, like she didn't have a bowel movement today, or she's constipated, or like it's rock hard when I go to check. So I don't know. It's so interesting to me. And there really is no rhyme or reason for like how we know these things. Um, but that being said, I hate when someone tries to tell me what they think is wrong with her, because you don't have that it factor when it comes to my child. You might have had it with your own, but I do believe very strongly that like it's not the experience that matters here. It's just
I
our
agree.
gut telling us exactly what's going on in any situation.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I don't take offense to this. This is going to sound wild, but when I had Vienna, the first few weeks, maybe few months even, my Nana had called me and she goes, you know, you kind of surprised me and your mom. Like it's her mom. Because not that we thought you wouldn't be a good mom, but we thought you'd be calling us more for advice. And I think your mom is a little sad about that. And so I would call my mom and I'd be like, and she's like, how's everything? I'm like, good. Like I didn't have questions. I mean,
Right.
granted, there were times where I'm like,
We'll
what do I
always have
do?
questions, right?
Right. But I think like they didn't, and I didn't think this either. And that's why I don't take offense to it. I didn't think, I wasn't the girl who carried around a baby doll. I wasn't the girl who said, I can't wait to be a mom. Like, I didn't even think it might have not even been in the cards for me. I was like, I would maybe, I don't know if I want kids. So nobody thought that I'd be a good mom. And maybe that's because I'm pretty cold. We've talked about that before. But it's just like you don't even need to have all of those things because
No.
it's just instinctual. I mean, Zach will be feeding her and he'll be like, she's crying, like she's not taking anymore. She's not hungry anymore. And I'm like, no, she is. She just needs a bottle. And then he'll give her the bottle and then she'll finish her meal. I'm like, how did I know that? I don't
I
know.
know. I know. It's so crazy. And
But
like
then
it's
also going to the
not
pediatrician, like you were gonna say, sorry, but like they'll be like, oh yeah, like she's fine, and you're like, no, I know, like you've seen her for 5 seconds, but like I live with her and like she's not fine, like at this moment, like I know. So like
yeah.
sometimes you do know a little better than even professionals.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And I was just touching back on, how you said Zach will be like, oh, she doesn't want to eat anymore. Those little things are not a fault of theirs.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
no.
I sometimes feel like I walk that line lightly because I don't ever want Justin to think I do know better than him, because I don't. He is literally the greatest father and he's so good. But what I do know is I 100% trust my intuition towards any and everything going on. So, like, same. If, she's throwing her food and he's like, no, she's done, I'm like, no, she just doesn't want that. Like,
She doesn't
take
like
that
that.
off. Like, and also, we used to like put all of her food on her tray at once. And I realized it was like overwhelming for her. So now, like, we do like smaller portions and she eats it
Mm-hmm.
better. And it's just like little things like that that I was like, no, we're going to try a different method. And it's like, what, how do I know this method? Literally no idea, but it
Right.
works. Like,
That's so
it's a really
interesting.
cool thing. Um,
It is. Don't you
but
surprise yourself sometimes? You're like, look at me being all a mom and shit. Like,
every
mm,
day,
look at me
every day.
go. Like,
I
you have to
were to
toot your
really
horn a little bit.
You have to. And if you, like, I know for you, like, not even knowing what your future looked like, and like, you weren't ever like, oh my God, I can't wait to be a mom. And truthfully, I mean, I obviously knew I would have kids, but I also never was like craving
Yeah,
that.
like baby fever, that did not exist for
Yeah, I
me.
mean, I really didn't have that. But where was I going with this? This is mom brain.
How you weren't, even though it's not like you didn't want kids or whatever, you probably like still surprised yourself or like you didn't
Yeah,
know if you would knew.
right. So okay,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So something I struggle with in my life is I don't think I'm always given from family and people close to me enough credit for who
Yeah.
I am and my intelligence and my ability to do things. Like, I don't think I'm taken seriously a lot. Probably because half of the time my coping mechanism is sarcasm and avoidance, but it's fine. But that being said, I definitely know my mom like probably wishes I called her way more for her just words of wisdom, because she's got it, right? She's done this before. Um, but you don't need to. Like, we don't need to call someone because they've done it for the answers that we really figure out and learn all on our own. And I do reflect on that a lot, and I'll sit there when I'm rocking Jules to sleep. Well, actually, she doesn't want to be rocked anymore, so that's a sad story. But when,
Oh
like,
no.
I know she just like wants to be put down and goes to sleep, and like that's a great milestone, but those are such special moments. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, when I do have those calm moments, whether with her or alone, I am like a bird's eye view of my own life and day to day, and it's truly so incredible who we become
It
and
is.
what we do and how we know everything, even though we know nothing. Like, I
Nothing.
want to emphasize that.
Oh yeah.
um,
Nothing. I feel like I mean the first time I changed a diaper was at home when we had the
yeah.
baby there. And I was like, what do I
Yeah.
do? Like I've never done this before. But now I'm like, she's like kicking and screaming and squirming around. She doesn't want to get changed. And I'm just like done.
Yeah.
Like
We call
it's
it
crazy.
alligator wrestling or crocodile wrestling. I forget
That
which one
sounds about,
Justice says.
yep, that sounds about right. Just barrel rolling away, clinching the legs together, like, or stretching them out. Like, impossible.
Yeah. What was I just gonna ask you in regards to this topic? So, have you ever like had a confrontation where you felt like you were being told something that you knew wasn't going on was going on? Like, whether it was that she was tired or she was hungry or she was sick and you were like, no. Like, were there ever any issues with people close?
Why don't you go first? Because I actually can't think of anything, but you'll bring me an example. I know you will.
Mm, mine is minor in regards to like it's the
I
small
can think of
things.
a minor one.
The small things really get to me. Whether it's we're no matter what we're doing, I just don't like being told what someone else.
Thinks your daughter needs.
Yeah, like so that unsolicited advice topic.
Mm,
Um
I hate that.
so like there has been so many times where like she's finished eating, she's playing and she's just like fussy or
Right.
like whatever. She's not like she is herself, but like someone thinks she isn't herself, and it's like they're telling me that like she's hungry and she needs to eat, and I'm like, no, 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 she just ate an
Right.
hour ago, like she's 1000% not hungry. And then there have been comments made that like, oh, you know, mommy doesn't want to feed you, or like that's mean of me, or like it,
Even jokingly, that's just not funny.
I don't like those comments. I don't like those comments from anyone about like Juliana's parents, right? Like nobody should be like, mommy's mean, mommy,
Mommy
like,
says no, sorry. I wish I could do that for you. Like, no,
right,
like,
right. No, 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 no. We're not doing
back
like the
me.
whole,
Back
the
me.
third person to my
Right.
daughter, subliminal, like I'm right here. Like, no, I'm her mom. And it's going to be the same way as she continues to get older when it's, you're not having ice cream right now, or you're throwing a fit and someone thinks that you're going to get this to calm you down and you're not getting it. Like, no, what
Yeah.
I say goes and no means no. Yes means yes. Anything I say, that's it. Drop the mic. No one else is
What
going
I
to
say
tell me or
goes.
tell
That's like
you.
straight up.
Yeah. So, and I
Yeah.
know there's going to be like her first birthday. Mom, if you've gotten this far and you're listening, shame on you for this. But you, she literally, no, it's not that big of a deal, but it bothered me so
I
much
know, but it's just funny.
because we did her cake smash, which we already spoke about. I cringed watching her eat
Oh, yeah.
the sugar and all that. But then we did a like small family gathering and we did like another like cake, like blowing the candles out or whatever. And as soon as we blew the candles out, like we took a few pictures and then I took it away from her. Like I was like,
Right.
okay, like let's go cut up cake and whatever. And my mom was literally in front of everybody, like, oh my gosh, let her eat it, like, blah, blah, blah. And she, like, to one
That
of
is
my best friends,
exactly
she
sounded
was
like
like,
my
can you
mom.
believe that she's not gonna let her eat the cake? And I was like, my mom doesn't even talk like that, number one. But number two, I was like, literally getting red in the face because number one, I feel like I'm embarrassed. Number two, you're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong and I'm not being a good mom because you're like, let her, or like how could you not? And it's like, but I'm
Right.
being the best mom because I'm not, I don't want her eating
Because,
that. So
yeah, because you know what's in that or whatever.
right, so like there's been many moments like that, with, and I think it's family that hits home because it's like they're the ones who feel like they can say whatever they want, where like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're family or a stranger to me, if I don't ask you, don't tell.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom has a thing about diapers. So if
Okay.
I have just changed Vienna, like
Hmm.
just, and
Okay.
she like pees, like I would say 1/8 of a shot glass of pee. My mom's like, this diaper is full. Wait, you're gonna let her sit in this diaper? I'm like, it absorbed. She's still
But that
dry. I'm like,
line, you're gonna let her sit in this diaper?
right, right. You're not gonna change her? I don't know. Like,
Like what
no.
a horrible mom you are.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
That's literally what it sounds like to me. Yeah,
Yeah,
she like
no,
has a thing about the diapers. I don't know.
I get that. Oh God, I just
Or
got
if someone's
hot.
like, right, get heated, or if someone's
Yeah.
like um holding her and they're like, "Oh, she's gonna fall asleep," or like trying to make them that's something. So here it is.
Okay.
I got it. Um when she was little, she used to love to fall asleep on you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. My mom would hold her, my in-laws would hold her, like immediately she would just fall asleep and just stay on your chest and be asleep. And as she got older, she didn't want to do that anymore. And people would try to force her to do it. and she would scream and cry, and I'd be pissed.
I could picture the like turning in their arms, like trying to like escape because I
And
get
I was
this very
pissed. I was like,
yeah.
she doesn't want to do that anymore. Sorry. But no, she obviously is upset. So like, oh, just a few more minutes. She's not happy. She's not happy. No more, a few more minutes. Done. Like, that bothers me.
Yeah, same.
And it's
But
crazy because, like, go ahead. You go
no,
first.
I was just gonna say like that's you being like she doesn't want to fall asleep, like you knowing it's not
And like,
happening,
look at
like
her.
right.
Yeah. I just, it's hard. But because, like, you also don't want to, or for me in the beginning, I didn't want to be that mom. That's like, she's crying, give her to me. Oh, I'll take her now. I'll take her back. She can't have that. She can't do this. It's my time. Like, I didn't want to be like that, like, particularly, but there's like, it's hard to find a middle ground. So in the beginning, I we've talked about this during my postpartum journey, and like having to go to both families on Easter when I was like literally straight hemorrhaging post double blood transfusion. Like, I was I was just happy to be alive and not be
Yep.
pregnant, that I was not going to, and this is all on me. I was just not going to whine, complain, or cry. Like, I wanted to see my family. I wanted to go out and be alive. I was like, this is a beautiful time.
Right.
But I was a little bit, I want to say like a pushover, I guess, because I didn't know how to say no without sounding like a crazy person or
Have
like,
you figured it out?
no, no, actually a little. If
Yeah.
it's my family, I just say exact, I don't even process the thought. I just say it. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how it comes out. I just say it. If it's Zach's family, I'll talk to him. And it doesn't matter how it comes out. I just say it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely it's funny you said something about like feeling bad, especially in the beginning, like taking away their time. And
Yeah.
I
Or
still
being that
feel
mom that's just like, they
I
can't have this.
still
They can't have
feel
that.
that though. Like I feel bad if someone comes over to see her, but I'm like, oh, like it's not your fault you came, but it's nap time and like you were just with her only for an hour, but like I'm gonna go put her down. Like I almost feel bad taking her away to the nursery. Or
Right.
again, like she's not gonna get cozy on you. She doesn't do that anymore. So like taking her back from someone, or if she is crying, or if she bumps her head a little bit, like yes, I don't want to be that mom either. That's like I I got her, but like at the end of the day, she needs mom.
Right. Yeah. If she's like, if she hits her head and she's really crying, I'm like, I'll take her back. But also, my mom gave us tough love with things like that. Like, if we fell down and scraped our knees, she would be like, "What?
Which
You're
I
you're
think is
okay."
the right method to
I mean, there was a
creating.
time. It is because there was a time I was 2 years old. My mom talks about this all the time, and I was running and I skinned both my knees and shins and like arms, and I was two, and it was bad. She said it was really bad, and I went, "I'm okay," and I had like tears in my eyes and I was shaking. She goes, "Well, maybe not,"
Yeah,
but
like this
like,
is a time.
it trained me to be like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not gonna throw myself on the floor. So like, that was helpful too. But she knew also when to like be like, okay, come here. But Vienna,
Yeah.
like, she hits her head, and I'm like, she's okay. Like,
Yeah, we
I
tried the
don't,
whole no reaction and it definitely like plays a major role. Like if they see you react, they're going to start crying, but sometimes like she'll
100%.
hit herself or fall and she won't cry, but she'll look at you and if you just disregard it, she moves on. And if she does
Absolutely.
cry for a second and you still disregard it, we're moving on.
Yep. And she every so often will hear a nice big thud, and I'll just go like this, and I'm like, is she gonna be okay? And then she continues playing, and I'm like, me and
Yeah.
Zach both, we just like freeze. We're like,
Yeah,
because you
no,
don't want
we've
to make a
definitely,
big deal, but you want to make sure she's okay at the
but
same
it's
time.
funny because there's been things that I'm like, you didn't need to cry over that, that she'll
Oh
like
yeah.
lose her mind to. But then there's things where I'm like, ooh, that one's gotta hurt. And there's no like response to it. I'm like, whatever.
Well, we were at music class on Monday, and Vienna and Emiliana were playing, and Vienna was just getting too close to her while she was playing her xylophone. And Allie was like, "Oh, she's getting real close. She's gonna hit her." I'm like, "Let her." So
Yeah.
Emiliana takes the xylophone. She's going like this on the xylophone, and just goes bomb on Vienna's head, and Vienna just goes no reaction. But then last night she's sitting on the floor and we have wood floor and I'm trying to like wipe her nose because she was just getting a little snotty.
Right.
And when I go to wipe her nose, she goes like this to like try and get away from me. Right on the wood floor, she cried. So I was
Right.
like, all right, all right, all right.
You're like, I
Like
know that was no
you
different than the
I was like,
xylophone on your
you
head.
did that yourself, by the way. If you didn't fight me, you wouldn't have done that. But
Yeah.
you know, it's just crazy. I mean, there were
I
times
also,
where go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. We had been in the very beginning, like so the summer. So Vienna was like maybe 3, 4 months old, and she would be crying. And I enjoy the summer very much, and I would be outside and like playing, and we were playing like beer pong and like having fun. And I was sober because I haven't been
Right.
really drunk around her like ever. And she was with my mother-in-law and I just heard her crying from inside the house, constant, constant, constant. She just didn't want to sleep. And I just had felt this pull to like go in and like take her away and like hold her myself. But I couldn't do it. I didn't want to hurt my mother-in-law's feelings. And so I was like just standing there like what do I do? Like and it sounds crazy now, but like I just was like, I don't want to be that
Like,
mom.
because
So
then you
then
don't want
Zach,
her to feel incompetent.
right. So then Zach was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I think like I should just take her when she's crying. I was like, I offered to take her, but like that wasn't good enough. I was like, I can take her. And they're like, no, it's okay. Like thinking they're doing me a favor. I'm thinking I'm doing them like a disservice by not trusting in them. So it was like this whole thing, but then not like a big thing, but then Zach
Yeah, yeah,
said to his parents, like, I think she wanted to take Vienna. And his mom
yeah,
was like, Beck, you gotta just say that. I'm sorry. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. I just couldn't say, I don't know. I just like can't say it. Now I have
yeah.
no problem like saying it. But it was just such a sweet reaction, like interaction because she was trying, I was trying. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. She obviously didn't want to hurt my feelings. Like so it was
It was genuine and like both of you had the right intentions, but like you know that
exactly.
she probably just needed you. And like
Yeah. And she did.
it right. Of course, it's no matter what's going on, they will be happy in our arms. Like
Yeah.
it relieves them immediately. Um what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I cannot believe how bad my mom brain has actually gotten.
That's a good point. Mine is pretty bad.
I put the peanut butter in the fridge the other day. We don't keep our peanut
Oh,
butter in the fridge, which is why it's a weird thing.
peanut butter
Um,
shall not be kept in the
and I did
fridge.
our salt. I put salt in the fridge too once, like 2 weeks ago. I've done
Oh my
weird, like
gosh.
mindless things.
It's
Um,
okay.
oh, this was what I was gonna say. When it comes to like knowing the girls so much, and I mean your child, it's so interesting, especially as the tantrums and whining become more consistent that I'm like, that's a fake. Like, just
Yes. Yes.
knowing so well as things are happening, like, what is that real? Are you really crying? No, you're faking it. I'm going to ignore you. It's like, I just know that, like, what you're doing is for attention.
Right. 100%. Or like the crocodile tears.
Yeah.
You know, the crocodile tears. It's like you're not really crying, but she'll like whine. So someone's like, oh, no, no,
Yeah.
oh. She's not really crying. She's faking. Or she'll
Yeah.
throw
And
herself
then
into a
I'm like,
fit and then turn and forget about it.
right. And then I feel bad because, like, if that happens when we're out somewhere, like, people give her the attention she wants. And I'm just like, no, please ignore her. But, like, it's nothing. Like they're not doing wrong. They want to give her
Right.
love, but I'm like, I
And
don't
I
want to
get
create a
that.
little monster.
A little spoiled girl, like that thinks
Yeah.
she can just whine and get what she wants.
Yeah. So
It's
I
hard.
don't
I
know.
mean, all of it's hard. It's just a weird balance. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, but at the same time, like to get
I
to
still
where we're
feel bad.
talking, I still feel bad, but like
And again,
I
I feel
feel like
worse
I know
towards my
better.
mother-in-law than I do to my mom, or,
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
feel
yeah.
worse to my family gatherings than I would. I know I would feel worse like to someone in Justin's family than I would to mine.
Right.
Like if she's crying and one of our cousins is holding her, it's going to take a lot more for me to be like, no, give her back to me right now versus like, I
Right.
won't even ask. I'll just take her right out of someone in my family's arms.
Exactly. And I don't I mean, I feel like it should be all
The
around. You should
same.
be able to do that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, my sister, my mom's doing something. I'm like, excuse me, I'm taking her back because they know, I guess, that like my attitude and the way I say it is just not a big deal. But if I said that with the same exact attitude to like my mother-in-law or my, other side, like family that's not like my immediate, they would be like, what the heck? But like that's just I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just like no
I
no
know.
BS, no sugarcoat. I'm taken.
It's actually funny too because so Justin's cousin, they had a baby 2 weeks after us. So like we've
Oh,
literally been on like the same path and it's been so incredible like having that shared journey. But like when I tell you we cannot be the more like opposite that at these family events I feel like Isabella is like doing her thing, like she'll sleep, she'll eat when she wants. It's up to her. And then I feel like the very controlling, hovering mom that and Nat's also an incredible mom, but it's just like we're so different and our babies are so different. Like Isabella is so independent and she's hit milestones like incredibly fast. And I just I almost get insecure because I'm like, his family honestly probably thinks I'm nuts. And I'm not nuts. I mean, maybe, I don't know,
it's
maybe
just
I'm
different. It's
overprotective.
just different.
Yes, yes. And I just
Is
feel like
that her
because
first
they're,
kid?
yeah, yeah. Um, but again, like our kids are so different. And I think every single child, it's hard to say how you're going to be like, especially even for us, like our second kids, I'm sure we'll care maybe a little
My
less.
second kid, I'm gonna be like,
Right. So
you're fine.
just, I don't know. I really think like people like if I were to like have like one of those anonymous like forums where somebody could tell me like their feelings on how I am as a mom, I think they would all say that I'm a bit like high strung and hovering and too many rules and protective. But like to me, I take all of those things as like a weird compliment because like I'm trying my best. And at the
Right?
end of
You
the
could you
day,
could be like not caring at all, and then people
right,
would say the same thing. You're a bad
right,
mom.
right. So with all of this being said and everything we've talked about, whether it's telling somebody what the baby needs or just feeling a certain way that, knowing our baby's sick and the pediatrician might be saying they're fine, like every example that we've talked about is just another example of us doing our best damn job as first time moms and future, like, if you're not, like, just being a mom, we're doing our best.
Yeah. Trust your
Like,
instincts. You really do have mom instincts, even if you,
yeah, and if you
think that
haven't,
maternal instincts are big.
and honestly, for me, it didn't kick in until like she was here.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you're pregnant and you're listening to this and you're like not sure if you're gonna have it or not, like it's just something that like chemically changes the second you give birth, and like you've got this. And
Yeah.
if you don't, we're here. Reach out to us. Like
It
obviously,
took me
any
like a month
questions.
postpartum to get it together. I didn't have any maternal instincts until I like recovered enough to be like,
But you did.
okay. I
I
mean, I probably did. You're
You
right.
were just recovering.
That's probably true. But yeah,
But
it's crazy. I never thought I could have maternal instincts, but I somehow do.
I've seen you and you are literally an incredible mom and I mean, the instincts are there, the love is there. Like, I want you to know for someone who didn't know if they'd be good or if they'd have it, like, you're so amazing.
Thank you. Well,
You're
I've seen you be
welcome.
a mom too, and I feel the same way. Honestly, I really thought you were relaxed. I thought, wow, she's such a relaxed and chill mom. I'm not
Maybe
even
I am.
kidding.
Maybe it's me like over analyzing things in my
It
head.
definitely is. Just think of other people you know and be like, if you like secretly, don't say this
Yeah,
out loud.
yeah.
Think of other people you know that maybe are more strict or whatever you want to call it, high strung,
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, so you know
Yeah,
people that are
that's
more high
true.
strung than you, and you know people who are more relaxed than you. Then I'd say you're doing a pretty damn good job because you're right in the middle,
I'll take it.
right?
Yeah. I have my things I care about and that's that, you know?
Exactly. Do you know what? If you're not the craziest, then you're doing good. My my mantra when I was going out drinking and like going to parties and stuff would be never be the drunkest person in the room. And so there you go. So if you're not the worst mom in the world, you're doing pretty good.
So, if you're going to take anything from this message today, it's don't be the drunkest mom in the room.
That's right. That is important information.
I cannot. No, honestly,
This is
though.
before I was a mom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, clearly you said you haven't been drunk, so but yeah, no, it's that's a good message and just if you are like me, I guess I need to give myself a little grace as well because we're just doing what we know our baby needs
That's right.
because mama knows
Instincts.
best.
Mostly.
Mostly. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. We cannot wait to chat. We have so many people who want to get on here, and I'm really, really, really excited. If you have anything
Yeah.
specific you want us to ask our guests, let us know. Comment on this. Reach out to us personally, but we cannot wait to connect with so many of you guys. So we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.